Today we're tackling one of the most highly requested recipes we've had in a very long time. It also happens to be one of my personal favorites. I'll be showing you how to make curry chicken. Meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right guys, so today we're using chicken quarters, which is comprised of the thigh and the drum. We're gonna break these down, we're gonna remove some of the fat, all of the skin, and then we're gonna cut them into bite-sized pieces. You really want a nice sharp knife to do this. The best way to just take the skin off is to just pull it off. It comes off easier than you probably think if you've never done this before. You can kind of just, grab it with your hand like this. If you need a little extra grip, you can use a paper towel or something like that to help you with the grip. But again, super easy, as you can see right here. Skin right off. You can save that for something if you want to. Make some chicken skins. I've seen people do that. Today we're just getting rid of it. We're gonna trim some of the fat off of these, but I like to leave some fat too because, to me, fat is flavor. You got some nice dark meat chicken here. You don't want to get rid of all the fat. So just remove all the skin, and then we'll chop it down into bite-sized pieces, clean it up, and then get our marinade started. All right, so once the skin is removed and you removed all the fat that you want to, now we're gonna go ahead and break down the chicken into bite-sized pieces. This step is optional, but it's a little bit more traditional if you go to a Jamaican carry-out spot. A lot of times this is how the chicken's gonna be served. It also cooks a little bit faster, and it's a little bit more pleasant to eat. You don't have to comb through it as much. Nice little bite-sized pieces. So we're gonna cut this down. You're gonna need a nice sharp knife to do this. Again, if you wanna skip this step, you totally can. Just gonna remove the drum from the thigh, and then cut the thigh into bite-sized pieces, like so. And let's break down the drum as well. Now we're gonna add it to a nice glass bowl, get it nice and clean. We're gonna add some lime juice. You can add vinegar if you want to. The real goal here, guys, is to make sure you get rid of all those bone fragments and cartilage, anything that you don't wanna eat or anything that could damage your teeth. That's the purpose of cleaning the chicken, really more so than getting rid of the bacteria. That happens during the cooking process, but a little lime juice adds a little flavor. The main goal is to get rid of all of those bone fragments. All right, guys, we got the chicken in here, cut up into bite-sized pieces, a little cold water, going in with the juice of 2 limes, probably the driest lime I've ever been a part of. That's a little unfortunate, but we'll get that in there. Just get it up with your hands. Make sure you feel around. If you feel any loose cartilage or bone fragments, make sure you get rid of that. Then we're gonna strain this off, run some cold water over it a few times. Just get it nice and clean. Next, we're gonna get it in the marinade, let that sit in the fridge for an hour, maybe even 24 hours if you got the time. All right, so for the spice in this recipe, we have a habanero pepper or a scotch bonnet if you can find it. If you cannot find scotch bonnet peppers, products like walkerswood tend to include them in some of their products, or you can use its cousin, which is the habanero pepper. Now, to remove a bit of the heat, we're going to get the seeds out of here. Definitely want to wear some gloves for this because you don't want to get that seed oil in your eye or around your lips or any other body parts for that matter. Not gonna be fun. Don't ask me how I know. Give it a rough chop. Then we're gonna chop up some green onions, a little thyme, and get our marinade going. If you don't want it to be spicy, guys, you can just use the heat from whatever curry powder you like and kind of omit this pepper if you want to. If you like some heat, you can throw the whole thing in there, maybe even 2 seeds and all. Totally customizable when it comes to the heat level. Little fresh thyme is best, but if all you got is the dried stuff, that works too. Tons of great flavors in this recipe. It's gonna smell amazing. The chicken's gonna get nice and tender. Sop it up with some white rice. You can even serve it with mashed potatoes if that's more of your thing than rice. Need something though for that curry gravy to really soak up. Love the smell of fresh thyme. We're also using walkerswood's green seasoning, which has a lot of these ingredients already in there, but I like to add a little freshness to the party as well. So you can, just use that if you want, or make your own homemade green seasoning. This product's great though. Saves you a lot of time and effort. and they don't really have any additives or kind of BS ingredients in there. So a big fan of their stuff. Not a sponsor of the video, but they have been a sponsor of me for other content. So just full disclosure on that, but I do really enjoy their stuff. All right, so now we're going in with about 2 tablespoons of green seasoning. It's gonna cover a lot of the bases from the flavor profile we're looking for. That fresh thyme, 1 chopped habanero, not jalapeno. The green onion, some of your favorite curry seasoning, some chicken bouillon powder, garlic, ginger, lime juice, and some all-purpose seasoning. Then we're gonna mix that up, cover it, put it in the fridge 1 to 24 hours. Next up, we're also gonna add some carrots and some russet potatoes to the curry. They're gonna get nice and tender, add some great flavor, some veggies from the carrots, great color, and it's kind of traditional. So we're gonna go ahead and prep our carrots and our potatoes by first using our peeler to get the skin off of there. We're gonna cut them down into bite-sized pieces, dice up an onion, 1 large onion or 2 small ones like we got today. As always, guys, all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe are listed for you down below, so don't forget to check that out. And we're gonna cut the potatoes nice and small, that way they get tender at the same time as the chicken. Just add a little more body to the situation in the meal. Optional though, for the folks that want to keep it keto or low carb, you can leave that out. Maybe you throw in some cauliflower, serve this over cauliflower rice. You got yourself a low carb curry meal for lunch or dinner. All right, guys, so this step is what's called browning or burning the curry. So you want to go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of oil. I like to use avocado oil because it has a high smoke point. To that, we're going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of curry powder. Again, adjust to your preference of spice. And then we're going to let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes until it gets a nice, dark, deep color. Not necessarily burnt, actually. You don't want it to burn for real. You just want it to kind of toast a bit and wake up some of those flavors, which is also going to add a lot of color to your curry as well. So once this gets nice and hot, in goes a couple tablespoons of that curry powder. You want to use Jamaican curry powder for this recipe. You can find that at almost every grocery store these days. If not, you can find it on Amazon. Walkerswood actually makes a really good curry paste as well. I don't have that on hand, so today we're using the powder. Many ways to make this. You just want to mix this in. Similar concept almost to like making a roux if you were making a gumbo. You just want to stir it into the oil and just keep the heat on like medium low and just let it toast. Your house is going to be smelling like curry for sure, so hopefully you're into that. I am. Now, my friends, we're going to add the chicken. You can just dump it all in there, but me, I like to develop a little color on mine, so we're going to be strategic about it. And all of that marinade is going in here too. No flavor left behind, as always. Make sure the chicken's making good surface area contact with your skillet. Dark meat's best for this recipe, in my opinion. You can use white meat if you want to, but it just doesn't stay as moist as the dark meat does. Now that we have our chicken broth in there, I'm going to go ahead and add in the onions, the potatoes, and the carrots. I want to get them in there nice and early, that way they have time to get tender as well. Another option is to parboil them if you want to add them towards the end. I've done that before, usually for like a shrimp recipe, something that cooks a little bit faster. But anything like this or beef or goat, you want to get that in there so it has real, a lot of time to get nice and tender and all the flavors kind of have time to come together. We're going to give this a good mix. I like to personally add about a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. I don't know how authentic that is, but I've been doing it since I started making this, and that's how I like to do it. And then we're going to add in our coconut milk. Start with half a can, kind of take a peek at it. You can add some browning if it makes it a little bit too light for your liking, but you just can't beat the flavor that comes along with it. I particularly do this if I'm not serving it with rice and peas, because that's usually cooked with coconut milk. So if I'm serving it with plain white rice like we are today, I'll do the coconut milk in the curry. Something about that coconut flavor just does it for me. Got some good color on the chicken. Let's give this a good mix so everything's evenly distributed. And if you're a savage and want to kick the spice up even more, you can throw a whole habanero or scotch bonnet in there and just let it do its thing. I'm not doing that today. I am going to throw some fresh thyme in there though. Just mix in that coconut milk Then we can kind of take a peek at the color. I think the color is going to be pretty good, but if you want to add a half a teaspoon of browning or something like that, really can't go wrong with that either. Give you a nice, darker curry color. All right, guys, so once the chicken is fork tender at least 175 degrees internal temperature and the potatoes and carrots are tender, we're good to go. You taste for seasoning, add a pinch of salt if you need to. Plate this up with some white rice, and you got yourself a delicious curry chicken meal. And this is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is add a little extra gravy, because why the hell not, and dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, I found my fork. I'm starving. The chicken is beautifully tender, as you can see. I'm trying not to get in here and get this curry all on my hands because we got another video to shoot. And then y'all will be talking about me in the comments. Chicken, little rice, little gravy, baby. Here we go. Oh man, gotta get this one a try. Got these limes from the Sahara Desert. They must be old, past their prime.
It's good. The balanced sweetness. I like that they're not mushy.
I need to have a little bite.